Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep on a topic that I've seen getting a lot of attention lately. Rybelsus for weight loss.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about it.
It's interesting because, it was originally a diabetes medication,
Right, it was designed for type 2 diabetes.
but now it's making waves for weight loss too, and we're going to unpack all that today.
Absolutely, there's a lot to discuss.
So, for those who might not be familiar, Rybelsus is the brand name for semaglutide.
And you take it orally,
Right, it's a pill.
which is a big deal.
Yeah, much easier than injections.
Exactly.
And it belongs to a class of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists.
I know it sounds a little intimidating.
But basically, it works by mimicking a hormone.
That helps you regulate both your appetite and your blood sugar.
And what's really capturing everyone's attention is that people are reporting some pretty significant weight loss.
Yeah, we're talking sometimes up to 15% of their body weight.
Which is, that's not just a few pounds. That could be life-changing for some people.
Absolutely, it's a significant amount.
So how does it work? How does Rybelsus actually help people lose weight?
Well, what's really remarkable is that it tackles weight loss from multiple angles.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just one thing.
Right, it's not just like a simple appetite suppressant.
It's more complex.
Exactly. So first of all, it helps you feel fuller for longer.
Okay, so you're not as hungry.
Exactly. You feel more satisfied after meals.
And that can really help with portion control.
Absolutely, because you're not feeling those cravings as intensely.
And it's not just about eating less, right?
No, it also slows down how quickly your stomach empties.
Oh, interesting. So the food stays in your stomach longer.
Exactly,
Right.
which further increases that feeling of fullness and satiety.
So you're getting that double whammy of feeling full and the food actually staying in your stomach longer.
That's right, it's like a 1-2 punch to those hunger pangs.
I like it. I like that.
But there's even more to it.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, Rybelsus also works on those hunger hormones.
So it's not just about willpower.
No, it's about giving your body the tools it needs to manage hunger and cravings more effectively.
Like it's working with your body, not against it.
Precisely.
So it's not just about feeling full. It's about actually regulating those hormones that make you feel hungry in the first place,
That's right, it's a more comprehensive approach.
which is really fascinating.
It's like giving your body a boost to its natural appetite control system.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But of course, as with any medication, it's really important to be aware of the potential side effects.
Right. No medication is perfect.
Exactly. So let's talk about what people should be aware of.
Okay, what are some of the common side effects that people might experience with Rybelsus?
Well, the most common ones are gastrointestinal.
Oh, okay, so like stomach stuff.
Yeah, things like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation.
Those are never fun.
No, they're not.
But I've heard that those tend to be pretty mild and usually go away on their own after a while.
That's right. For most people, they are temporary.
Okay, that's good to know.
But it is important to talk to your doctor if they become bothersome or if they're really severe.
Makes sense. Better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. Always good to keep your doctor informed.
Now, what about more serious risks? Are there any potential long-term concerns with Rybelsus?
Well, there are some rarer but more serious risks.
Okay, like what?
Things like pancreatitis, kidney issues.
Those sound serious.
They can be.
And there's been some talk about thyroid tumors too, right?
Yeah, that's been seen in animal studies, but it's important to note that we haven't seen that same risk in humans.
Okay, that's reassuring.
But it's still something that researchers are monitoring closely.
Right, because we want to be as cautious as possible.
Absolutely. Safety is always a top priority.
And I think it's important to emphasize that everyone's different.
Right. Everyone's medical history and risk factors are unique.
Exactly. So what might be perfectly safe for one person could be risky for someone else.
That's why it's so crucial to have a conversation with your doctor.
They can assess your individual situation.
Exactly. They'll look at your medical history, any other medications you're taking.
Right, and any underlying conditions.
And then they can help you determine if Rybelsus is right for you.
So it's a personalized approach.
Absolutely. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And they can also guide you through the process safely and answer any questions you might have.
So if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, Rybelsus sounds interesting, I might want to explore this further, what's the first step?
The first step is to schedule an appointment with their healthcare provider.
Easy enough, right?
It's really the most important step.
Okay, and what can they expect from that conversation? What will the doctor likely want to discuss?
Well, the doctor will probably start by asking about their weight loss history.
Okay, so like any previous attempts at weight management.
Exactly. And they'll want to get a sense of their overall health status.
Right, like any underlying conditions or medications they're currently taking.
Exactly. And they'll probably assess their body mass index, or BMI.
And take a look at their medical records.
Right, to determine if Rybelsus is a suitable option for them.
So it's a pretty thorough assessment.
It should be. It's important to gather enough information to make a responsible decision.
Makes sense, because we want to make sure that it's safe and effective for each individual.
Absolutely, that's the goal.
Now, let's say the doctor gives the green light. They say, yes, Rybelsus is a good option for you. What happens next?
Well, the doctor will write them a prescription.
Okay,
and explain the dosage instructions.
Right, how much to take and when to take it.
Exactly. And they'll also discuss any potential side effects in more detail.
So the patient is fully informed.
That's right. It's all about transparency and open communication.
And will the doctor likely recommend any lifestyle changes along with taking Rybelsus?
Oh, absolutely. Rybelsus works best when it's part of a comprehensive weight management plan.
Okay, so it's not just about popping a pill and calling it a day.
No, it's about making healthy choices and incorporating those healthy habits into your life.
So things like diet and exercise.
Exactly. Those are crucial components of any successful weight loss journey.
So it's like Rybelsus gives you a boost, but you still have to put in the work.
That's right. It's a team effort.
It's like a tool to help you along the way, but you're still in the driver's seat.
I like that analogy.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of talking to your doctor, getting that personalized assessment.
Right, and understanding the potential benefits and risks.
Now let's talk about dosage. How is Rybelsus typically taken?
So the usual starting dose is pretty low. It's 3 milligrams daily.
Okay, so you start small.
Yeah, and you take it on an empty stomach.
Oh, important detail.
About 30 minutes before your first meal of the day.
So first thing in the morning, before you eat anything.
That's right.
And then the doctor might gradually increase the dose over time.
Yeah, they might increase it to 7 milligrams and then potentially to 14 milligrams.
But that depends on how you're responding and how well you're tolerating it.
Exactly. It's a gradual process to give your body time to adjust.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's all about finding the right dose for each individual.
Now let's talk about something that's often a major concern for people. Cost. How much does Rybelsus typically cost? And is it covered by insurance?
Yeah, cost is a big factor for a lot of people, and unfortunately, without insurance, Rybelsus can be pricey.
Oh, okay. How much are we talking?
It can range from around $800 to $1,000 for a 30-day supply.
Wow, that's a significant expense.
It is, and it's something to consider carefully.
But what about insurance coverage? Do most insurance plans cover Rybelsus?
Insurance coverage varies, so it's always best to check with your specific provider.
Okay, so make that call and find out the details.
Exactly. You want to know what you're dealing with.
Now, for those who might not have insurance coverage or whose copay is still pretty high, are there any options to make Rybelsus more affordable?
Yes, definitely. There are often manufacturer coupons and patient assistance programs.
Oh, okay, so there might be ways to reduce the cost.
Yes, there are resources out there, so don't be afraid to ask.
That's good to know, because cost can be a major barrier for a lot of people.
It can, but there are often ways to navigate those challenges.
It's all about being informed and advocating for yourself.
Absolutely.
All right, now here's a question that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about. Can only people with diabetes take Rybelsus, or can those without diabetes use it for weight loss too?
That's a great question and a common one.
I bet.
So the answer is yes. Rybelsus can be prescribed off-label for weight loss in individuals who don't have diabetes.
Okay, so even if you don't have diabetes, it might be an option.
Exactly, especially if you're struggling with obesity.
But again, it's crucial to have that conversation with your doctor.
They can determine if it's appropriate for you based on your individual situation.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this and they're thinking, all right, I want to hear more about what it's actually like to take Rybelsus. What kind of results are people seeing? What are some real-world experiences you've encountered?
I've seen some really inspiring transformations.
Oh, tell me more.
For example, I had a patient who had been battling weight issues for years, tried countless diets, exercise plans. Nothing seemed to work.
I can imagine how frustrating that must have been.
It was really discouraging for her. She was starting to lose hope.
Yeah, you try so many things and it's like, what's the point?
Exactly. But then she started taking Rybelsus, and within a few months, she noticed a significant change.
Like, how much weight did she lose?
Well, she lost a considerable amount, but it was more than that.
Oh, it was about more than just the number on the scale.
Yeah, her energy levels went way up.
Oh, wow, so she felt better overall.
Much better. And for the first time in years, she felt in control of her body.
That's a huge mental shift.
It was, and you could see the difference in her confidence, her self-esteem.
Like she was a whole new person.
It was amazing to witness.
That's what it's all about, right? It's not just about fitting into smaller clothes.
No, it's about how you feel, how you perceive yourself, and how you engage with the world.
And those non-scale victories are often the most meaningful.
Absolutely, they're the ones that really stick with you.
Now, I'm sure some people are thinking, okay, but what about surgery? Isn't that a faster way to lose weight?
Surgery can be a life-changing option for some people, especially those struggling with severe obesity.
Right, like bariatric surgery.
It can lead to substantial weight loss and improve various health conditions.
But it's a major procedure.
It is, with its own set of risks and a long recovery period.
So it's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Definitely not. It's a big commitment.
So how does Rybelsus fit into the picture? Is it a potential alternative to surgery for some people?
It certainly has that potential, especially for individuals who might not be candidates for surgery or who prefer a less invasive option.
Okay, so it's another tool in the toolbox.
Right. It expands the options available.
And it's all about finding the right approach for each individual.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another.
And that's why it's so crucial to have that conversation with your doctor.
They can help you weigh the pros and cons of each option.
Right, and guide you towards a path that aligns with your goals.
And your individual circumstances.
Because weight loss is a personal journey.
It is, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
So it's about finding what works for you, creating a plan that you can stick with, and celebrating every step forward.
I love that.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. And it's about taking care of yourself both physically and mentally.
Because ultimately, it's all about improving your health and well-being.
That's the ultimate goal.
Now, I want to switch gears a bit and talk about something that I think is really important to consider when discussing any kind of weight loss journey: the emotional and psychological aspects.
That's a great point. It's not just about the physical changes.
Right. It's about how those changes affect your self-esteem, your body image, your overall mental well-being.
Exactly. It's a whole person experience.
And it can be challenging.
It can, because you're not just changing your body, you're often changing your habits, your mindset.
And your relationship with food.
Right. It's a complex process.
So how can people approach weight loss in a way that's healthy, both physically and mentally?
Well, first and foremost, it's important to be kind to yourself.
I love that.
It's easy to get caught up in self-criticism and negative thoughts.
Especially when you're trying to change your body.
But it's crucial to practice self-compassion and celebrate your progress.
Because every step forward is a victory.
Absolutely, even the small ones.
And it's important to remember that you're not alone in this.
So many people struggle with weight and body image.
It's a common experience.
And there's no shame in asking for help.
Right, whether it's from a therapist, a support group, or even just talking to a trusted friend or family member.
Having that support system can make a world of difference.
It's about creating a positive environment for yourself.
Exactly, where you feel encouraged and empowered.
Because ultimately, it's about taking care of your whole self.
Your mind, body, and spirit.
Beautifully said.
It's all interconnected.
Okay, so as we move into the next part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. We've talked a lot about the science of Rybelsus.
How it works, the potential benefits.
But now I want to shift gears and explore the bigger picture.
Okay, the why.
Yeah, why are we so focused on weight loss in the first place?
That's a great question.
What are the societal pressures, the cultural norms, the personal beliefs that shape our relationship with our bodies?
That's a complex issue.
It is, and it's one that deserves a deeper exploration.
Absolutely, we need to look beyond the surface.
And that's what we'll be diving into in the next part of our deep dive.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's going to be a fascinating conversation.
I think so too.
So stay tuned, everyone.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Rybelsus for weight loss. Now, in the last part, we talked about how it works, the potential benefits and side effects, and all those practical details. But one question that I think is on a lot of people's minds is, what's the long-term outlook? Like, what happens after you stop taking it?
Yeah, that's a big question, and it's one that researchers are definitely still looking into. Rybelsus is still relatively new, but the early data is pretty encouraging. Studies have shown that it can be effective for both weight loss and maintenance for up to 2 years.
Wow, 2 years. That's pretty impressive.
It is, but it's important to remember that weight management is a lifelong thing. It's not like you take Rybelsus for 2 years and then you're magically cured of any weight issues.
Right, it's not a quick fix.
Exactly. It's a tool that can help, but it works best when it's used alongside those healthy lifestyle changes we talked about.
Like diet and exercise and all that.
Exactly. Those things are essential for long-term success. And it's also really important to work closely with your doctor.
Yeah, they can help you create a plan that's right for you.
Exactly. They can monitor your progress, adjust your dosage if needed, and address any concerns that might come up.
So it's about finding what works for you and making those sustainable changes.
Precisely. Now, one concern that I often hear from people is about developing a tolerance to Rybelsus. Like, will it become less effective over time?
That's a good question. I've wondered about that too.
It's a valid concern, but thankfully, tolerance doesn't seem to be a major issue with Rybelsus. So far, studies have shown that it remains effective for weight loss and maintenance even over longer periods.
Okay, that's good to know.
But what about side effects? Do those tend to stick around or get worse over time?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Well, for most people, those initial side effects like nausea and diarrhea tend to fade away after the first few weeks as their body adjusts to the medication.
Okay, so it's kind of like a short-term adjustment period.
Exactly. But of course, everyone is different, and some people might have side effects that linger or need some adjustments to their dosage.
Right, so again, talking to your doctor is key.
Absolutely. Keep them informed about anything you're experiencing.
Okay, so we've talked about the physical side of things, but I want to bring it back to something we touched on earlier. The mental and emotional aspects of weight loss. Because it's not just about the number on the scale, right?
You're absolutely right. It's so important to approach weight loss with a healthy mindset and a lot of self-compassion. It's not about being perfect or comparing yourself to others.
It's about making positive changes for yourself.
Exactly. And celebrating those victories along the way.
Yeah, every step forward is something to be proud of.
And it's important to remember that setbacks are normal. They're going to happen. It's not a straight line to success.
So don't beat yourself up if you have a slip up.
Exactly. Just get back on track and keep moving forward.
And it can be really helpful to have a strong support system during this process.
Absolutely. Whether it's your family, friends, a therapist, or a support group, having people to lean on can make a world of difference.
So true. Okay, now I want to zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture. Like, what impact do you think Rybelsus and other medications like it could have on public health, especially with the obesity epidemic?
That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of experts are thinking about. Obesity is a complex issue with many contributing factors, but Rybelsus definitely has the potential to play a role in addressing it.
How so?
Well, by helping people achieve and maintain a healthy weight, we can potentially reduce the risk of developing all those obesity-related conditions.
You mean things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, certain types of cancer?
Exactly. Those are serious health problems, and if we can help people avoid them, that's a huge win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's not just about individual health, it's about improving the health of society as a whole.
Exactly. And it's about changing the conversation around obesity. We need to move away from blame and shame and toward a more understanding and supportive approach.
I love that, because it's a medical condition, not a moral failing.
Right. It's important to recognize that.
And it often requires multiple approaches to treat it effectively.
Exactly. It's not just about willpower. It's about understanding the biological factors involved and giving people the tools they need to succeed.
Okay, now I want to address something that I know can be a bit controversial. The idea of using medication for weight loss. Some people might see it as taking a shortcut or a sign of weakness. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's definitely a stigma around it, and it's important to address that head on. For many people, weight loss isn't just about making broad choices. It's about overcoming real biological and physiological hurdles.
Like those hormones we talked about.
Exactly. And sometimes medication can be the key to helping people break through those barriers.
So it's not about taking the easy way out. It's about recognizing that sometimes we need a little extra support.
Exactly. It's about leveling the playing field.
And giving your body the tools it needs to make those changes.
Precisely. Now, it's important to remember that medication is just one piece of the puzzle.
It's not a magic bullet.
Right. It works best when it's combined with those healthy lifestyle changes.
So it's not an either situation. It's about integrating medication into a more holistic approach.
Exactly. And it's about finding what works for you as an individual.
Because everyone's journey is different.
Absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Okay, so we've talked about the individual benefits, the potential impact on public health, but what about the ethical considerations surrounding weight loss medications? It's a complex issue, right?
It is, and there are valid concerns on both sides. One concern is the potential for overuse or misuse of these medications.
Right, like any medication, they need to be used responsibly.
Exactly, under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
And I think education is key, both for patients and for healthcare providers.
Absolutely. We need to make sure everyone understands the potential benefits and risks.
So they can make informed decisions.
Exactly. Now, another concern is that using medication for weight loss might somehow undermine the importance of those lifestyle changes we keep talking about.
Like it's a cop-out or something.
Right, but I think it's important to emphasize that medication is not a replacement for healthy habits. It's a tool that can help make those habits more effective.
Like it can give you a boost and help you stick with those changes.
Exactly, but you still have to put in the work.
So it's about finding that balance.
Absolutely. And recognizing that for some people, medication might be the key that unlocks their ability to make those lifestyle changes successfully.
It's like giving them the support they need to get over that initial hump.
Precisely. And then they can build on that foundation and develop those healthy habits that will last a lifetime.
Okay, now let's talk about something that's probably on a lot of people's minds. Cost. We mentioned earlier that Rybelsus can be expensive, especially without insurance. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the out-of-pocket costs for Rybelsus can vary depending on a few factors, like your location, the pharmacy you use, and your insurance plan. But generally, you're looking at somewhere between $800 and $1,000 for a 30-day supply.
Wow, that's definitely a significant expense for a lot of people.
It is, and it's something to consider carefully.
Are there any ways to make it more affordable?
There are definitely a few things you can explore. First, check with your insurance provider to see if they cover Rybelsus. Many do, but the specifics of the coverage can vary.
So it's always worth making that call.
Absolutely. You might be surprised by what your insurance covers. And if your insurance doesn't cover it, or if your copay is still too high, there are other options. The company that makes Rybelsus offers a savings card that can help lower your out-of-pocket costs.
Oh, that's good to know. How do you get one of those savings cards?
You can usually find information about the savings card on the manufacturer's website, or you can ask your doctor or pharmacist about it.
So there are resources available to help make Rybelsus more accessible.
Yes, there are. And don't hesitate to ask your healthcare team about any financial assistance programs that might be available. They can often point you in the right direction.
That's great advice. It's always worth asking about those programs.
Yeah.
Now, I want to touch on something that some people might find controversial. Using medication for weight loss. Some might view it as taking the easy way out or a quick fix. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a valid perspective, and it's a discussion that's happening more and more as weight loss medications become more common. It's important to remember that medication is just one tool in the toolbox when it comes to weight loss. It's not a magic bullet and doesn't replace the need for healthy lifestyle changes.
So it's all about finding the right balance.
Exactly. Medication can be a helpful aid for some people, but it should always be used as part of a comprehensive approach that includes diet, exercise, possibly behavioral therapy, and ongoing support from healthcare professionals.
That's about building a sustainable lifestyle that supports both weight loss and your overall well-being long-term.
You got it.
Yeah.
And it's important to have realistic expectations. Medication can help kickstart the process and make it easier to maintain healthy habits, but it's not a quick fix or a guarantee of success.
So it's about giving individuals the power to take control of their health and make well-informed decisions about their weight loss journey.
Absolutely. And it's about shifting away from the stigma around weight loss and recognizing that it's a multifaceted issue with both biological and behavioral components.
Well said. Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Rybelsus, I'd like to leave our listeners with a few key points to remember.
Sound good.
First and foremost, Rybelsus is a promising new tool for weight loss, but it's not a miracle cure. It's most effective when combined with a healthy lifestyle, which includes a balanced diet and regular exercise.
Absolutely. It's about approaching weight management holistically.
Second, it's crucial to talk to your doctor to see if Rybelsus is right for you. They can evaluate your specific risk factors, answer your questions, and help you weigh the potential benefits against the risks.
I couldn't agree more. Open communication with your healthcare provider is vital throughout this process.
And finally, remember that every weight loss journey is unique. What works for one person might not work for another.
That's so important to keep in mind. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, and it's about finding what works best for you and your body.
Now, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question as we move into the next part of our deep dive. We've talked a lot about the science and logistics of Rybelsus, but what about the emotional and psychological side of weight loss?
That's a great point, and it's often overlooked. Weight loss isn't just about changing your body, it's about changing your mindset, habits, and your relationship with food.
It's about self-acceptance, body image, and developing a healthier relationship with yourself overall.
Exactly. And that's a journey that takes time, patience, and self-compassion.
It's about understanding that setbacks are part of the process, and that every step forward, no matter how small, is a win.
Well said. And it's about celebrating your accomplishments and recognizing your strengths.
So, to our listeners, as you continue exploring your own weight loss journey, we encourage you to think about not just the physical aspects, but also the emotional and psychological ones.
Embrace a holistic approach that considers your mind, body, and spirit.
Beautifully said. On that note, we'll wrap up this second part of our deep dive. We hope you found this exploration of Rybelsus informative and empowering so far.
Remember, knowledge is power. We encourage you to keep learning, asking questions, and advocating for your health.
Stay tuned for the final part, where we'll delve even deeper into the world of Rybelsus and explore what the future holds for weight loss medications. Welcome back to our deep dive on Rybelsus for weight loss. In the last two parts, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the science behind Rybelsus, the potential benefits and risks, and the long-term outlook. But in this final part, I want to focus on something really crucial, the role of individual choice and empowerment in this whole weight management journey.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in all the technical details, but at the end of the day, the decision of whether or not to use Rybelsus or any other weight loss tool is a personal one.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's about taking ownership of your health and making choices that align with, your individual needs, your goals, your values.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to weight loss, and it's so important to find an approach that feels right for you, both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, it's not about following someone else's path. It's about creating a journey that feels good for you and honors, your unique circumstances and preferences.
Absolutely. And it's about recognizing that you are the expert on your own body.
I love that.
You know yourself best, and you have the power to make choices that support your well-being.
It's about really tuning into those signals, listening to your intuition, and making decisions that, feel empowering and feel sustainable for you.
Exactly. And surrounding yourself with people who support you, healthcare professionals, friends, family, people who can offer guidance and encouragement and help you stay accountable.
Now, I want to shift gears a bit and address something that I think a lot of people struggle with. It's how to navigate all the conflicting information and opinions about weight loss that are out there, especially with social media and just like the constant stream of information, some of which is not very reliable.
It's true. It can be so overwhelming, and it's understandable to feel confused.
Yeah.
There's just so much information out there. It's hard to know what to believe.
So how can people kind of sift through all that noise and find credible information?
Well, I think it's important to be really discerning about your sources. Look for information from reputable organizations, qualified healthcare professionals, people who are really experts in their field.
So it's about being a critical consumer of information, not just believing everything you see or hear.
Exactly. Don't fall for those fad diets or quick fixes because those rarely work in the long run.
Right. It's about finding what's sustainable for you and what actually makes you feel good.
Exactly. And remembering that your health is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs along the way, and that's okay.
It's normal.
The important thing is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep trying to make choices that support your overall well-being.
I want to touch on something that sometimes has a bit of a stigma attached to it. The use of medication for weight loss. Some people might see it as a cop-out or a sign of weakness, but I think it's important to challenge that perception.
I agree. I hear that a lot, and it's unfortunate. Because for a lot of people, weight loss is not just about willpower. There are often biological and physiological factors involved that can make it really hard to lose weight and keep it off.
So it's not as simple as just eating less and moving more.
Right. It's more complex than that. And sometimes medication can be a really valuable tool to help people overcome those barriers.
It's like leveling the playing field, giving your body the support it needs to make those changes.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So it's not about replacing healthy habits. It's about making those habits more effective.
Exactly. It's about working with your body, not against it.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Rybelsus, I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways.
All right, let's do it.
First and foremost, remember that you're not alone in this. So many people struggle with weight management, and there are resources available to help.
That's so true. Don't be afraid to reach out to your doctor, a registered dietitian, a therapist, or even a support group. There are people who want to help you succeed.
And remember, there's no shame in asking for help.
Absolutely not. We all need support sometimes.
Second, remember that there's no magic bullet.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
It's about finding what works for you and what you can sustain over time.
And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different approaches until you find what clicks for you.
It's a process of discovery.
It is, and it's a journey, not a race.
Third, be patient with yourself. Weight loss takes time.
It does, and there will be ups and downs along the way. Don't get discouraged by setbacks. Just learn from them and keep moving forward.
And finally, remember that you are worthy of health and happiness, no matter what your weight or size is.
That's such an important message. Focus on taking care of yourself, both physically and emotionally, and celebrate every step you take towards a healthier, happier you.
Beautifully said. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into Rybelsus for weight loss. We hope you found this exploration informative, empowering, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Remember, your health is a journey, and you have the power to make choices that support a healthier, happier you. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.